Today, we are going to be talking about zero waste holidays. Our first webinar in this zero waste lifestyle series was about zero waste through our kitchens, and that was so well received. So now we are here, bringing this very timely topic, and we hope to share some holiday cheer along with great strategies around zero waste. I am Neha, and I'm the Program Director for Zero Waste Initiatives at Sustainable Westchester. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we work with Westchester municipalities as well as the county government. We try to bring forth programs by working alongside local organizations, sustainability leaders, and community champions. And the programs that we put forth, we hope that they are practical, cost effective, and also help in reducing greenhouse gas emissions and achieve a cleaner and healthier community. So let's get started. But before we do that, a quick housekeeping again, that please keep yourselves muted at all times. And we welcome, again, everyone to use the chat window to share your thoughts and submit questions. We will be taking the questions towards the end of the presentation. Okay. So before we get to the fun and celebrating part, it is important to acknowledge that holidays will be different this year. This time of the year normally used to be a time to get together with family and friends. But we are again seeing a surge in COVID infection rates in the country, as well as in New York State. So CDC has published their guidelines for holidays, which emphasize smaller gatherings, suggest maintaining good air circulation, and using mask, gloves, sanitizer wipes, and alcohol-based sanitizers. So if we take a step back and look from the perspective of the environment, we all know that, ironically, COVID has caused a remarkable improvement in our air quality because of, we all had to cut down on transportation. However, from a waste perspective, it has added a huge influx of single-use items such as gloves, masks, wipes, and it has also put a hold on New York State's plastic bag ban. So coming from the economic standpoint, this year has been extremely difficult for a lot of families. So how does a zero waste holiday fit into this reality of being able to balance health and safety while also being budget conscious? And therefore, we are especially grateful to our guest speakers for today's topic because they will strive to strike that balance. They will share their time-tested zero waste strategies with us that will allow all of us to have safe holiday celebrations, but may also help us turn this unprecedented, strange holiday season into something very meaningful, more mindful, and even memorable in the process. So please welcome our experts panel today. Our first speaker is Elisa Zazzera. She came to Hastings in 2004. And since then, she has been very active, very active in local matters of sustainability. She helped co-found an ad hoc group called Sustainable Hastings, and then served as a member of Hastings Conservation Commission, and currently leads the village's Zero Waste Advisory Task Force. Excuse me. Elisa has started the Stone Ledge Farm CSA in Hastings 12 years ago, and she has also managed it since. She is also active with Hastings Vine Squad, VINE. And when she is not volunteering her time, she is the administrator of International Association for Relational Psychoanalysis and Psychotherapy. Welcome, Elisa. Our second speaker is Lindsay Cohen. She is the Director of Sustainability at Greenburgh Nature Center, which is located in Scarsdale. A bit about GNC. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization with a mission to ignite passion, curiosity, and respect for our natural world. They run excellent programs in environmental and sustainability education through school programs, volunteer engagements, and community outreach and events. These various programs reach and serve about 90,000 people each year. At GNC, Lindsay oversees the implementation of various sustainability education programs, including the town of Greenburgh's municipal food scrap recycling, zero waste schools, and garden scholar schools. Lindsay received her BS from Union College and her MS in Sustainability Management from Columbia University. Thank you, Elisa and Lindsay. By the way, today also happens to be World Kindness Day. So, Elisa, kindly share your strategies for zero waste gift giving.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Excuse me. It's really great to be here. Thank you, Neha, and thanks Sustainable Westchester for inviting me here. I'm honored to share my thoughts and experiences on this topic and also learn from you. As Neha mentioned earlier, we all have some expertise, and if we share these thoughts and practices, the better we can all do and the more we'll all know. So before we get to the points on this screen, first let's consider your gift list. I can remember clearly when my mom at a certain point in my youth decided, too much to get gifts for all our cousins and everything. And they decided mutually that we weren't going to give gifts during Christmas. So really take a good look at your gift list. And maybe there are some people that are on there just by habit that, maybe a card or a phone call would be enough. So get your gift list set. And once you've got your list set, really consider deeply what these people might really like, or what do they want, or what do they need? What can they really use? Because it's not just the thought, it's about the gift as well. So start with buy no thing. A quote that I really love is, "Things are a thief of time." I'm not quite sure where I heard it first, but it certainly rings true. And another quote is, "Everything is future garbage." So whatever your cherished item is, you may pass it on to family members. At a certain point, if it doesn't wind up in a museum, it's going to wind up in the trash. So consider giving the gift of an experience as opposed to a thing. Gift of an experience will give the giftee a memory that they can enjoy many, many times and for many years. And while COVID has affected what kinds of experiences we may be free to enjoy, there are still plenty of experiences to gift out there. I note that Broadway shows have streaming online. You can get tickets for that or check other musical or dance performances that may also be online. Streaming services like Netflix and Hulu offer gift cards, as do podcasts or Audible. And for offline experiences, memberships or tickets or to events or classes at botanical gardens, zoos, historical societies, or nature centers, like our very own Greenburgh Nature Center. And also check continuing education and local college course offerings for a cooking class or some other class that your giftee has interest in. For gustatory gifts, gift certificates to restaurants for takeout or a local gourmet shop or bakery, breweries, wineries, farmers markets and their vendors. Or maybe a gift that really satisfies a need. My sister and I would roll our eyes every year when we were young when we'd get socks from Santa in one of our boxes, but I have come to love the socks my sister gives me for Christmas every year. So gift cards for groceries or bus, train, or subway cards, gift cards to a gas station. Sometimes what's really needed is a great gift. And for the giftee that's done it all or has everything, consider donating in their honor to their favorite charity. And if you're not sure what their charities are, maybe they have a particular interest, the organization Alternative Gifts, which is online, has many opportunities to donate in honor of your giftee. And if money is tight this year, as it is for many more of us than now more than ever, give your time. Bring your giftee on a canoe ride or a full moon walk or a moonless walk for stargazing, or offer hours of your time for help with yard work or household work, snow shoveling, gardening, or pet sitting. And let's make regifting okay. It is okay. If you have something that is not sparking joy in you, but it might spark joy in your friend, for a friend, so gift it. And homemade gifts show a lot from the heart. So gustatory again, like baked goods or jams or savory dishes that freeze well, or crafty gifts, homemade soaps or lotions. I like to sew. I will likely make several face masks as gifts this year. And now for some things you might like to gift. If you could go on to the next slide, Neha. Consider shopping from thrift stores or Goodwill, Free Cycle, or Swaps. This is a way that you can keep those things from getting to the trash sooner than later, keep them out of the trash for a few more years. Shopping local is really important. More of your dollar spent at local stores stays local. Forbes magazine reports that 45% of your dollar spent locally stays in the community versus 14% of money spent in chain stores. And the owners of these local stores are the folks that support your village through sales tax, also supporting local initiatives like Little Leagues and PTAs. And we know downtowns would not exist if we don't shop local. And gifts might also be a way to share your dedication to a sustainable lifestyle. So gifting of durable goods like stainless steel beverage containers or metal straws or cloth shopping bags. And then shop consumables, something that can be used up. This is usually where I start when I want to gift something to someone. What can I get them that they will use up? Food or body care products and the like. And now once you get your gift, you want to wrap it up. So be creative and think outside the box. Maybe you don't even need a box. And you certainly don't need, I don't know where I put it now, don't need to purchase wrapping paper. I have a big bag in my closet filled with wrapping paper that I've collected over the years. So you can reuse that. And when I was a kid growing up, we would use the funnies from the newspaper. So newspaper or craft paper, paper bags, old maps or atlas pages can be used as wrapping paper. Even cloth and a scarf. Or a tea towel that can then be reused, can be used to wrap your gift. And again, if you don't have that bag of old paper from gifts that you've received, now is the time to start your bag. When you receive gifts, unwrap your gifts carefully and save that paper for the next time you give a gift. And if you find yourself with wrapping that must be discarded, be sure you check out its recyclability or where exactly it should go in the Recycle Right app. And not just around gift giving or holidays, but all the time, we must be more mindful of the way we produce trash and how we dispose of it, what trash we produce and how we dispose of it. If you can go to the next slide, Neha. From Annie Leonard and the Story of Stuff, I learned that 70 cans of trash were made upstream just to produce the garbage that's in the can at your curb. So the less trash you can make has a tremendous upstream effect on decreasing the amount of trash that happens there. And that wraps up my time. I am so pleased to share this stage with Lindsay, who will tell us now about hosting and holiday cheer. Thanks.
All right. Hello, everybody. And thank you again for having me. I'm very excited to be here. So with hosting, a lot of these are things that just come up normally, like choosing evites. So a lot of the times we will be mailing invites to people in the past, and evites have become very popular over the years. So this year, just thinking twice about sending that invite and trying an online evite website or even just a simple text or an email. With smaller gatherings, we can use reusable items. It's a good idea, especially this year, to just wash everything before you distribute it to your guests. And hopefully your gatherings will be a little bit smaller with COVID in mind this year, but there's also alternatives that we can consider if you don't have enough of reusables. So in a non-COVID year, you might consider asking friends or family members that aren't hosting if you could borrow some of their serviceware, or you could always look online for compostable serviceware. The one thing to be aware of with your compostable serviceware is that most of the sites, especially in Westchester, Westchester County that we would be able to dispose of this needs to be BPI certified. So BPI has a database that you're able to look up each of your items, even if you already have them, by their SKU number. And we're going to provide a resource list at the end of this presentation that will have that direct link. And then you're able to check if your serviceware is certified compostable. The next thing that we suggest is providing wine, drink, charm labels or name tags for people to mark their items. This does come in handy with COVID so that people don't lose track of their items. But oftentimes when they lose track of their drink or their plate, it leads to increased waste because they then end up throwing it out and looking for a new one. So just providing a simple charm could decrease waste significantly at your hosting gathering. And then finally, a lot of people in a holiday spirit will look to give some sort of a small party favor or parting gift to all of their attendees. And as Elisa said, sometimes, giving a gift is nice, but sometimes doing something that actually feels good is even better. And so in a holiday spirited way, you can offer your guests and attendees to instead participate in picking a charity or having a charity raffle at your dinner, where any money that you may have spent in providing those favors to your guests can be put into a pot. You can encourage your guests to also donate to that pot, and then have each of your guests submit their favorite charity into a raffle bowl. And at the end of the night, you can select the winning charity. And this is just a really fun, feel-good way to bring in the holidays and to also reduce waste that might have come from giving out the small party favors or the gifts. So with hosting, there's a lot of choices that we have to make when it comes to food. So of course, food has a very big impact on our environment. It's responsible for about 15% or more of the greenhouse gas emissions that we see globally. And it's also responsible for a significant amount of water use, especially when you look into the meat and dairy industries. So when we're looking for holiday meal options, we want to look for replacements and alternatives that can allow us to still enjoy our favorite holiday meals, but with some less environmentally harmful food items. So this doesn't mean that you have to move away from your staples like the turkey at Thanksgiving, but maybe rethinking where that turkey comes from, right? And then looking at all of your other traditional meat dishes and thinking about replacing the meat with a vegetarian option. And in the resources guide, we will provide you some of the more popular meat replacement substitutes that are often made of tofus or GMO-free soys. And all of these are actually really great in taste and flavor. And we're also going to provide some recipes for you to try that includes all of these meatless meat options. The next thing that we encourage is just shopping locally for your food. When you shop at the farmer's market, it's more likely that you're getting food that is in season, local, that hasn't traveled many miles to get to your plate. And you're also, again, helping to support local businesses in the area and the local economy. You can also support local businesses if you don't have time to cook for the holidays. So you can take out dishes from your favorite local restaurants and again, support those small businesses. When it comes to buying drinks, we suggest doing some research into some of your local wineries, distilleries, or breweries, because a lot of them are offering curbside or contactless pickup of their products. So this is a really great way, once again, supporting your local businesses, but making sure that your beer or your wine or your alcohol doesn't have to travel thousands of miles just to get to your plate, right? So these drinks are really great. And again, on the resources list, we're going to provide some of our favorite breweries in the Westchester County area. And then finally, buying in bulk. Buying in bulk does multiple things. The main thing that it does is it reduces packaging waste. Packaging waste is always a big issue around the holidays, especially. So if we buy in bulk, especially thinking about drinks, instead of serving people individual cans or individual drinks, buying larger size so that when we're disposing, we have less waste. And then we want to try to simplify recycling for everyone. I think that especially at a holiday party, you don't want to be, Debbie Downer about recycling. You want to be excited about recycling, and you don't want to intimidate your guests either. So just setting up a very simple recycling station with some cute signage that you could have your kids or your family make, and putting it all in one spot. So it's easy, right? You go to one area to dispose of everything that you have. there's no confusion. And if you feel that some of your guests may not actually know what can go into your compost, and again, this could even vary depending on where you're bringing your compost at the end of the night, you can even add some little imagery to help guide them. Specifically, if you're serving specific dishes, you could add images of that dish and put it by the compost bin so people know that they're able to dispose of that entire meal right into the compost. So with our leftovers and food waste are an increasingly large issue in our country and around the world. So a lot of our food just gets wasted. And unfortunately for the holidays, it's often hard to estimate how much your guests are going to be eating, and you never want to be the host who runs out of food. So oftentimes we end up overcooking and over-serving food. So the first thing that we suggest is trying to reuse your leftovers and getting a little creative with your recipes. No one likes to eat the same turkey for 4 days in a row. So maybe using some of our apps like Supercook or some of the other apps we'll provide on our resources page to help guide you. All that you do is you put in what you have in your fridge, and they will spit out a bunch of recipes that you can try with just those ingredients. If you feel like you have a lot of leftovers, typically, another great way to handle that is to ask your guests to bring a Tupperware with them to the party. And then you're able to send them home in a zero waste bin with the leftover foods that you may not be able to get to. And then finally, of course, the best way to dispose of food waste so we can get the highest value out of it at the end of its life is to compost it. So we can turn it back into soil and return it to our earth. And when we're dealing with waste as well, if there's any confusion, again, we can use the Recycle Right app to put in any of our items just to make sure that we're putting everything in the proper location. Decorations. And one other thing I did want to mention is that a lot of the areas in Westchester are using compost drop-off sites currently, and many have remained open during COVID. So you can definitely research your town or a neighboring town that might have a free drop-off location for you to bring your compost at the end of your party. So decorations are the most fun part of the holiday season. So it's always nice to think about how we can remake decorations or reuse decorations from the past first. So the first step is always reuse what you have. Even if you have to change it and switch it up, just try to make use of it. If you need to buy new decor, we always suggest trying to use recycled materials. So especially if you go on Etsy, you're supporting small businesses. And a lot of these artists are very talented, and they can make really fun and exciting decorations with recycled materials like recycled papers and newspapers. So we've also included some links for you to see what the Etsy community has come up with in terms of eco-friendly, environmentally friendly holiday decorations that you can purchase if you're not very crafty. If you are a little bit crafty or you enjoy doing crafts with your family or your significant other, you can always do the DIY projects that we've also added to the resources list. These are really fun ways to use the materials that you have around you to make decorations and holiday activities with your family. In terms of tablecloths and any sort of linens, we always suggest using reusables, trying to stray away from the one-time use plastic table coverings, and opting for the linen that you can reuse over and over. And also encouraging the use of natural decor, going out into the woods, seeing what you can find without harming any of our nature. Reaching out to your local florist, seeing if they have any extra cuttings or any extra dry cuttings that you can use in decor, or even seeing if they sell dried wreaths and different types of decorations that we can use made out of nature. And then finally, just trying to use as little energy as possible. So instead of the typical string lights that we see during the holidays, maybe using a candle or opting for natural light as much as possible. And then finally, try to spread the joy, right? So it is holiday season, so a lot of us will start to go through things. And I think because we're all stuck in our homes, we've had a lot of time to go through all of our things. So when we have things that, whether they're holiday related or not, we want to think about donating anything that is working to give it a new life, right? If we're not getting use, or like Elisa said, if we're not finding joy from any of these items, just try to give them a new life, because that's the best thing that we can do, and it's joyful for us to give. Or you could try to join a swap or a buy nothing group and exchange your items for something that's new to you, but maybe old for somebody else, which still makes it a little bit exciting. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Elisa and Lindsay, for packing so many ideas into this presentation. And I'm sure we all feel much better prepared. And if not that, then at least we feel much better knowing that there are so many options to choose from. So we love this quote here because it speaks to that. It allows us to be real, be able to pick what fits our situation, and still be able to make a huge difference. So I'm sure that not everyone is so tuned in as all of us here are to this topic. Many people are just as concerned about climate change, but they don't necessarily know where to begin. And to make it a bit simpler for everyone, especially looking to reduce waste, Sustainable Westchester created this program that if you haven't already heard from the speakers, mention it again and again today, I would love to give you a quick overview. Recycle Right app is a free to download app on the Apple and Android app stores, and it is available to residents in 14 municipalities. So to start with, it shows you your municipal sanitation pickup schedules in a much simpler format than those confusing and long brochures. And during the holidays, when it gets especially difficult to keep track of the pickup changes, this app becomes very handy. Now, the exciting part is that there is a Recyclopedia feature, which you have heard already about. It lets you search for items that you are trying to get rid of. And this will not only give you your municipality's instructions for disposal, but it will also sneak in instructions around reuse, recycle, and even reduce waste in the future. So finally, even if you do not live in an area which is serviced by this app, you can still take advantage of the Recyclopedia. Resources, tons of resources that were shared today by Elisa and Lindsay, and we have put together all of those websites and links in a PDF, which we will be attaching along with the recording of this webinar and sending it as a follow-up email to everyone who registered. Thank you. Thank you so much for creating the resource page for us. Now, building further on that thought of taking action, we are not limited to what we discussed today, because as you see on this page, there are so many zero waste initiatives taking place in Westchester, and they have all been led by community volunteers. Thanks to their efforts, Westchester has made great strides towards becoming a less wasteful and more resourceful community. Elisa and Lindsay, would you like to add here from your own experience as a community champion yourself, or if you would like to add any concluding remarks before we open for Q&A?
I think that's a very complete list. And I also see in some of the chat, Peter has put up some great links. So I'm sure that these links will go along with the recording and we'll get them out to you. Yeah, but my big thing is just be mindful. We're also very used to throwing it away, putting it in the can, and it goes away, but there is no such thing as away. So take an extra moment and consider before you purchase something, how much waste am I going to create with this thing? And then when you have the waste, where's the best place to put it?
Sure. Lindsay?
Yeah, so I agree with everything. And I think that another really important thing is to make sustainability and zero waste approachable and make it feel like it's not overwhelming to your guests. So as Neha said, not everybody is as tuned into these issues as we are. And maybe it's not a priority for some people at this point in their life. So we have to be open and welcoming and find ways to communicate these zero waste initiatives, like just setting up a recycling and composting station at your party, because even if you say nothing about it, it sends a message that you're thinking about it, and that encourages others to do the same. So kind of leading by example and not always having to give long, talks or anything like that at the holidays about these sustainability actions we went over.
Very well said. Thank you. Okay, and with that, we are now open for Q&A.
I'm going to jump in because Jody Welch has put a couple of questions in the chat, and they are also around the same topic. So I just wanted to first thank her, and I'm just going to read off those questions and open them up to the three of you. So her first question was, do you have any advice on managing delivery packages that we're so often relying on these days? And what, if anything, could we do about pushing back on product packaging?
So can I take the first part? Because I am also, increasingly shopping online, especially on Amazon these days. And what I have found recently, it's a very welcoming news that Amazon's sustainability initiative has now led to include, a range of options for the shoppers. Along with their delivery confirmation, they will also send a link to where you can recycle your packaging material. They have also included, very great many resources for people who are looking to refurbish their items. And so I think it is all going in the right direction. So that's from me. Elisa, let's
Go ahead, Lindsay.
Yeah. So with the packaging, there are some alternatives that are also on the market now. So one that's really great is called Loop. And if you go online, Loop has partnered with Unilever, and they provide a wide array of products in these very heavy duty stainless steel, often, or heavy plastics that they then collect from you when you're done using them, and they wash and refill them and then resend them out. So basically it's their concept is bringing back the milkman. So bringing back the concept of, I deliver something to you, you use it, and then in your next delivery, I take back the packaging and reuse that. So Loop is a little bit expensive. It's not for everybody, and it doesn't have all the items that Amazon has, but it is a good alternative for household everyday products if you're looking to greatly reduce packaging waste.
Yes, all of that. And to the other question, pushing back on the packaging, on the people who send you the stuff in the package. I highly advocate, if you are a consumer of a particular product or place, and I get cat food delivered, and one of the vendors kept putting it in, packaging it with these plastic air things as opposed to paper. I stopped shopping there. I wrote them, I told them via email and called and said, please change your packaging or I won't shop there anymore. So as consumers, you're not going to tilt the scale completely with one email, but if you do it and you encourage your friends to do it, like Alice's Restaurant, it becomes a movement. Sorry for that reference, if that's over everyone's head. So yeah, to speak to the manufacturer or the source where you get the product and tell them what you want to see in the packaging. When it comes to cardboard boxes, they're valuable in recycling, but be careful. Do not put your cardboard or your paper out if it's going to rain. Once that stuff gets wet, it's not valuable. So yesterday was our recycling pickup day. It was raining. I didn't put it out. I'll have to stow it for another week, but it's so be aware of the recycling regulations there as well. And just one other thing, because I saw Louise ask the percent advantage. This was from a Forbes article for local shopping. They say that 45% of your dollar spent locally stays in the community versus 14% at chain stores. That was the statistic that was asked to be given again.
So we are also seeing suggestions from our attendees, and especially Peter McCart has suggested a lot of great local organizations that we can buy membership of, and we can gift of membership of, such as Greenburgh Nature Center, as well as he has
Broken Merchandise. Oh, that was down for, the Broken Merchandise and Trash Nothing, Westchester County.
Correct.
And if I can jump in too, also with regards to the packaging, I haven't done this in a while, but I used to, when I get packages with those styrofoam peanuts, there's a UPS store in Ardsley that would take them. So you can find, and I also, when I get things in bubble wrap, our local thrift store, Suburban Renewal, I give her my bubble wrap and she reuses it to wrap her products. So, start thinking of people who use these items, and maybe you can find a second life for them that way. It's all about creativity. No matter how creative you think you are or you aren't, we all have some creativity.
That's right. And yes, again, to plug the Recycle Right app, as Maria has also done in the chat, the app does have options. It gives locations of stores that will take your packaging for recycling. And I have also dropped off my packaging material at local shipping centers, and they have, welcomed that. So that's an option too. Do as much as we can. And the plastic wraps can be recycled at the stores, which have the film and plastic wrap packaging bins that are located outside their stores. So there are some regulations mandated by the state that any store that exceeds a certain volume has to provide that recycling plastic bag recycling option to their customers. So please take advantage of that.
If I may jump in on a natural decorating note that Lindsay had mentioned, as Neha also mentioned, I work with the local Hastings Vine Squad, where we go to free trees from invasive vines like bittersweet and porcelainberry, and even poison ivy. But that's for specialty. And these vines make great material to make wreaths out of. So you can twist them and make wreaths and then decorate them. So you're saving trees and making decorations with these vines. And if you want any information, contact Neha, or if my email's in there, I'll hook you up with the do's and don'ts of vine removal.
Great. Speaking of wines and natural decor, Elisa, I know you have created your own DIY projects out of the vine that you, could you share a bit about, even if you cannot show them,
Well, these are little ones.
Oh, great.
So this was a vine. And what we also used to do was use ribbons, and then you make for kids, like little, nice little fairy type things. But yeah, so those are my wreaths. And also pine cones. I happen to have a full one here, but pine cones are great as decorations. My mom used to use a styrofoam tree form and put pine cones, spray paint it gold. So yeah, you can just, let your creativity really tap into your creative side with natural things.
Great.
I was thinking that maybe there might be some folks in the audience today who have some other suggestions, and we loved all of these suggestions, and we couldn't love Elisa and Lindsay more if we tried. But what we were hoping is maybe we'd hear from some of you. It's a great way to exchange ideas, and we have time. So let's see if there's anyone who wants to chime in. You can just unmute yourself, perhaps, and start chatting.
Yes, please let us know what you do.
So one of the traditions in our family that's actually been very great is that we have eliminated, like I guess Elisa had said, the idea that we buy for everyone. And so we do Kringles among the cousins who are now adult age. Somehow I ended up with adult age nieces and nephews and children. I don't know how that happens. And also among the brothers and sisters. But what we started to do is also buy ourselves experiences. So how many knife sets could you possibly get, or bottles of wine and those kinds of things. So we kind of pool everything together, and we go to the opera. We, go to the Philharmonic, and we try to do an off-Broadway show. We try to do something that works for everyone's budget. And the first couple of years, there was a lot of resistance because I think some people like the other knife set or 100th scarf that you're not going to use. But it's been such a bonding experience for us as a family. And we started doing that for my mother-in-law when she said, please don't get me another sweater, because I guess she has all 10 of us buying her sweaters. So, and there are so many easy things to do now. It's hard to obviously do the Philharmonic and those kinds of things. But we talked this year about doing a social distance winter hike, which could be fun. We can all get together, and if we do it correctly, we can do it well. So it's sometimes hard to push people in that direction and start new traditions. But when Neha and I were talking about this, we thought, oh my gosh, if this is a year where we could make new traditions, this would be the year. This would be the year where what might not have been embraced before would be embraced. And just the idea that, the 5 brothers and sisters could get together with masks and, get outside and hike in the winter was, well received, because we don't think we'll be able to do our traditional Christmas celebration. We don't have that kind of outdoor space to sit outside and eat. So we'll all be probably hunkered down with our own immediate families. So it's kind of almost relieving in a weird way to start new traditions. And it's kind of socially accepted, if you will. And it's easy. We also said, we can't do everything. So let's start with something.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, Maria, is that traditions, seem to hold because it's a tradition and you hold on to it really strongly. But certainly this might be a year to say, this tradition isn't really working for everyone. Let's create a new one.
So I think so.
A personal change that I adopted in my life when I started my zero waste journey was to start creating my own body lotion products. And it all started with health in mind, but then it also turns out that it also makes my personal care more sustainable and less wasteful. And also I enjoy, doing experiments with it. So I think zero waste journey is not just for the sake of the environment. I think it will also, you will find that it turns out to be much more healthier for your own self.
Skill building.
Skill building too, yes.
There was someone who couldn't unmute
I know,
themselves.
I'm actually looking for her as well. I just seeing that.
Okay.
I'm trying to unmute her. Oh,
Thank you. You did it.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi.
Sorry. There you go.
I love this topic. One thing in my family we've done for a few years now is you're allowed to ask for things that you really need. Like my sister needed a new door for her house. So we all chipped in for the door, and we gave her a certificate to help her pay for the door. So giving things that there is a real need, that also I think sometimes doesn't occur to people. Okay, that's all.
Every time she opens the door, she'll think of you all.
Yes, that's nice too.
Thank you for sharing that.
That's beautiful. Yes, and Ellen noted this new store in Hastings, Refill, where you bring your container in and can get your laundry detergent or soap detergent. It's right now those kinds of consumables. And as Lindsay mentioned in the loop, it is a little bit more expensive, but I have this plastic container that I don't have to put in the recycling bin. I just bring it back to the store and they keep filling it. So thanks, Ellen. I've been a fan of them now since they've opened. I'm sorry, if I can jump, Neha, we had a conversation a couple of days ago about Christmas trees. Now, live or plastic, that's a debate that can go on. But I shared with Neha and Lindsay that in our family, as a child, we would get a tree with its roots. So we would plant the trees. And then after some time, we were older, my mom had passed. And so we did crazy things. Like there was a dead maple tree, a dwarf maple we had in the yard. So we dug that up, put that in the house and hung our decorations on that. So again, even while the Christmas tree is this very long-standing tradition, maybe it's time to reinvent what this centerpiece of your holiday celebration is to something that is sustainable from year to year environmentally and also just, for your family.
Great. And I'm adding all of these amazing resources and links that you are sending on the chat, and I will include them in the resource page that we will attach to the webinar recording that we will send all of you after this.
Neha, I have become aware that people are saying that they can't unmute themselves. Since you set this up, can you maybe help me figure that out? I can unmute everyone individually, but I don't see, I'm not seeing the unmute all button, if you will.
I will, that's right. I have changed the setting now to allow everyone to unmute themselves.
Okay, great. So that I guess there's a few people who may have been trying to speak. So if anyone is
Yes.
in that case, in that boat, feel free now to just jump in.
Yeah, give us some more ideas.
This is Ellen. I just wanted to speak on the refill store in Hastings. You can, by the way, you can finish up your own container and wash it out and bring it in. You don't have to buy their containers. So that's an even better bonus that they offer. So.
Yes, and that's exactly what I did, Ellen. I came in with my old, 7th generation laundry detergent jug, and they were happy to refill it.
Yeah, I have a question on the veterans. Are they picking up things now? For a while they stopped, during COVID.
The last time I booked a pickup with them was prior to COVID, just before COVID hit. And they came in, no questions asked. They took, the stuff that I had. I do not know about the recent development at that.
Yeah, because, we'd usually get a card from them in the mail. And since COVID, we haven't gotten anything.
There is someone, Rebecca, in the chat. She has added that they are still picking up.
Vietnam vets in particular.
Yes, Vietnam vets. And that there is a high demand, so you will have to wait more than usual. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that update, Carol and Rebecca.
Oh, and I see a question for you, Neha. What kind of personal products do you make?
Oh, I missed that. Thank you for asking that, Jenna. So I found a very simple recipe to make body butter using shea butter and coconut oil, olive oil, and just mix it all up, and it's amazing. No preservatives needed, and it works much, much better than earlier what I was buying from the store. And I can make it in tons and tons of quantity, so I never run out.
I will share mine. I make
Please.
I make Pete's Sweet Heat. I make a hot sauce that I make every year. I bottle it, and on the label, I say, if you return the bottle, I'll give you another bottle the next year. It's like one of those like a Grolsch beer bottle top, and it's all organic. And I use local honey. So I make it's a sweet but hot sauce, and not too hot, but everybody loves it. You do have to be careful with it because if you haven't used it for a while and you shake it up, it will go boom. Natural fermentation of the peppers. But that's my. I also I had a tradition when I was young that we'd always use the funny papers, like I think it was Elisa said, and we still to this day we get a good kick out of all the kids and everything. So that's one of our things. And making food, I think, is just really one of the best gifts. It really comes from the heart. And, my mom always made tea rings, and which are just cinnamon roll tea rings we had natural black walnuts on our property. So we would, she incorporated black walnuts into everything. So we would give those out. She would give them to the teachers and give them to the mailman and give them to different people as gifts.
Nice.
But this is all great. This is all good stuff.
Thank you for sharing that, Peter. And I'm afraid you might get a lot of requests now from unknown people.
I've already sent you an email.
Heat, sweet heat. Yeah, I don't make that much. It's just from my own garden. And I learned that not to use habaneros. It was just too hot. It's just too much. But
What is the pepper you use, Peter?
just jalapenos.
Okay.
Just jalapenos
Nice.
and tomatoes, and that's basically it. And honey.
Yeah, these days with Google and all the DIY stuff, it's so easy to find tutorials on, if you've never made an item or bread or hot sauce or something, it's really easy to learn how.
Yeah.
Thank
Cool.
you. Karen, would you like to unmute yourself and speak a little bit about the Green Building, Center for Green Building in Mamaroneck? I haven't heard about that, so I would love to know more.
Yeah, hi. So Center for Green Building is, I guess it's fairly new. I only went to it actually the last weekend, but they sell, it has a lot actually. In terms of, it's more like, I think it started off as providing materials for people who are trying to renovate their house or build a house with environmentally friendly items, and I mean, from flooring to curtains, rugs. So I think it started off more like for people who are renovating or building their homes and who wanted, and also having products which were like toxin-free and odor-free paint. And then recently they moved to cleaning products, which Meliora I mentioned, I just found out about it, and where it's zero waste, where it's with the whole zero waste sort of concept, and also of course toxin free and odor free and refillable. So do check it out. They're the small business that the guy is Todd Isberg is a really wonderful guy. I know him, and he's trying to make ends meet also with two jobs, but really very committed and passionate about zero waste. So yeah.
Thank you. And I will also include them in the Recycle Right app.
Mm-hmm.
Great. There's a suggestion by Antoinette about Purple Heart Pickup. Again, this is, I did not know about them, but seems like another avenue where you can schedule pickup of your donation items. Thank you for suggesting that. I'm taking a note of all these links and names, and I will be adding them to the resource page. Sarah has asked a question. Can you recommend any sustainable gift ideas for children? Yes.
This may not be necessarily an idea, but I saw a hysterical video the other day. I told this to Neha. A mom with her infant in the feeding chair. She put down, a purchased toy and like the inside of the core of the toilet paper roll. The kid went for the toilet paper roll. She would do it again with like a plastic bottle and another bought toy. The kid never went for the purchased item, just went to which is not to say you should gift, these things, but just keep in mind, as is often the case, you buy a gift for a child and they like the box better than the gift. So in terms of sustainable, I would say check out your thrift stores and buy something that is not new, that can have another life. Oh, the age of the kid in the crib was maybe a year. He was still very young.
And then over at the Nature Center, we do have a small gift shop, and the items that we stock in there's a couple of companies I just pulled up here. Petite Collage is one of them, and then the other one is Eeboo, EEBOO. And both of those companies focus on they have a lot of puzzles, board games, wooden block toys. All of them are made from recycled materials, natural inks and dyes. So you're still giving the toy, and obviously, at the end of its life, trying to figure out what to do with it, but at least it's made in an environmentally thoughtful way.
Great. And yes, along with buying gifts as things, we are also again reminded that sometimes experiences are much more valuable to even the kids than the material things. And someone dropped in a line about a scavenger hunt, and I actually did that just last night with my kid. She is 6 years old. She enjoys spending time with us, doing any activity more than any gift that we gave her. So again, spending time with them, finding things that you can create yourself and enjoy with them would be a great gift. But then again, we will add some of the links in the resource page where you can book, experiences for kids. If you cannot visit Santa in person this year, there's now a company organizing virtual meet with Santa. So that's something also, that we can appreciate this time.
I hope COVID doesn't keep Santa off his sleigh this year.
Social distancing. I think he'll be 6 feet away.
Certainly from the reindeer. How someone put about college contribution funds. I like that. I wish someone had done that for me as a gift, but that's actually a great idea.
Yeah.
College kids and always need money, or even young kids. I mean, that's sort of going back to, those savings bonds, if anyone remembers those from growing up. So.
Mhm.
So we are running up to the hour, and these have been amazing questions and comments and thoughts that we all shared today. And we hope that every one of us takes some of the holiday cheer we shared and makes it into a memorable event. I would like to thank all of the attendees, all of you, for again joining us today, and the speakers for giving their time and valuable inputs to share with the community. So thank you so much. Please send any other questions that you might have and which we might have missed in the email, and we will definitely get to those as well.